Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and welcome once again to another bubbly and blossoming comic book vault. Today on the vault, we're going to take a look at Powerpuff Girls number 34. This is an unusual thing for me to do. I'm going to review a book before it's featured on Mailbag Day. This week, we've got a bunch of mail, and we actually just got our mail today, and this came in, and I couldn't help myself. I read this real quick and thought, well, I'll go ahead and record a vault on this before I forget what I read. So I thought I'd go ahead and do this, but you'll see this again on Mailbag Day. This was sent to us. I don't have a YouTube channel name. He didn't send it, and I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his name. The name is Justin Kennan, and he sent this along with a really great letter talking about a society that he's involved in. He's from Illinois, and he goes to McKendree University, and he's involved in the Literary Interest Society, and he's asking for some help with some projects they're working on, and I thought that was a really great and worthwhile endeavor, and I'm definitely interested in it. I'm going to be talking more about that on Mailbag Day, but a quick plug about that, more to be featured later on this week when I meet with Vince. So later on in the week, probably around Friday or Saturday, Mailbag Day will be posted. Anyway, Powerpuff Girls number 34. So I've never really read any Powerpuff Girls comics, and as a lot of people know, I am a big Powerpuff Girls fan. I've seen the entire series. I've done 2 superhero rewinds about Powerpuff Girls, including the film, and of course a top 10 list of my favorite episodes. Powerpuff Girls was a very, very, very funny show. I always really enjoyed it. I thought it was very clever, and happily, this book is also very clever, and I thought this was up to par with some of the better episodes of the show. I thought that both of the stories in this could have easily been episodes of the show, and believe it or not, I'm just looking at this now, the writer on this first story is none other than Dan Slott, and it's quite good, it's quite funny. And the second story is written, if I can look at this, if I can find this, it was written by Roger Fredericks, who I don't know. Art on the second one by Christopher Cook. Art on this first story by Phil Moy. But the art all looks very consistent. It all looks like a Powerpuff Girls episode. And the first story is with a new villain called the Spelling Bee, who spells out all of her crimes before she commits them, which is a really silly thing to do because most superheroes could just immediately figure out where you're going to go, because most people can probably, you know, figure out from the verbal spelling where you're going to go. But the Powerpuff Girls are kindergartners, and they're not as good at reading as they would like, and so that becomes a hindrance for them. Probably not the most practical sort of villain plot, but, you know, it's Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls is a cartoon before it's an animated series, like I've always said, so I go with these kinds of silly leaps in logic. It is still a bit of a stretch, and I feel the need to mention the sheer goofiness, even inside of the world of Powerpuff Girls, that there would be a villain who is only difficult to beat because they're kindergartners and they don't know how to read very well. Anyway, it's still a very fun and amusing read, and my favorite thing about this is that all of the kinds of humor that was in the show are really prominently featured here. The kinds of puns that you saw on the show, the kinds of punny humor, is definitely here, and my favorite in the whole book out of both stories is where Bubbles at one point looks at a guy who works for a circus and says, "Don't worry, mister, no one's gonna take your bull or your lion." That kind of thing always cracks me up and is very, very Powerpuff Girls. It was funny to see a villain called Spelling Bee because, and this is going to be an odd reference, but there was a villain in the second season of Stan Lee's Who Wants to Be a Superhero, who I think I want to say the second challenge they had was facing off against a villain called the Spelling Bee, who actually made the heroes in the reality show, Who Wants to Be a Superhero. who made the heroes spell out things while they were trapped in a box with a bunch of bees that were actually there and could actually sting them. And it's funny because this woman looks somewhat similar and obviously has the same motif and the exact same name. I think it's funny. Who Wants to Be a Superhero was the second season of that was 2007, and this is 2003, so only 4 years removed. I think it's kind of funny. I doubt that they got it from this. The second story is a Mojo Jojo story, which I was immediately excited about because I love Mojo Jojo, where this is a very, like straight-on Mojo Jojo sort of plot. This is very indicative of the kinds of things he would do. He has this one's called The Tragic Marker, and he has a marker where he can add letters or change letters in a word that's on a building or anywhere and make it something else just by adding a letter. And I think it's funny how the pen interprets different things. So he writes a bank, or he finds a bank, he adds an L, makes it blank, and then it just disappears. And he makes the police polite, he turns City Hall into a city ball. The way the Powerpuff Girls defeat him is, at the end, Mojo Jojo makes the mistake of erecting a statue of himself and writing Mojo Jojo at the bottom of it. So, of course, the Powerpuff Girls get a hold of his pen, and they change his name so that instead of Mojo Jojo, he's Mojo So-So. And he had been getting everybody to follow whatever he said because of other things he did with the pen, but now, because he's Mojo So-So, everyone says, oh, he's just So-So, and they don't pay any attention to him. Corny, yes, also very, very Powerpuff Girls. I like that, unlike the show, both of these stories have a similar theme in that they're playing with words. And it's fun to see Powerpuff Girls do stories that play with words because the show itself played with words so much and had such an appreciation for language. And that was one of the things I always really enjoyed about it. I love that the format is the same as the show often was, where you have two stories that feel very much like they could be done in 15-minute cartoon episodes. They both had this thing going on with words. I think it would have been fun if the series did more of that kind of thing, where they put two episodes together that have this kind of thing, sort of thematically, or just like the idea of the episode kind of ties them together. Also, both, of course, have the announcer voice done in narration boxes and opens with some kind of iteration of the city of Townsville and closes with some sort of iteration of "and now the day is saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls." This is great. I want to get more of these because this was like getting to really. I guess it's funny that I loved this as much as I did, but I did. I think that this was a lot like getting to see episodes of this show that I didn't get to see, and I really missed this show, and these could have very easily been episodes, and this works great in comic book form. So, yeah, I recommend this series just based on this one issue, if you can get your hands on any old Powerpuff Girl issues, and I'm thinking about going back and trying to find some of this. I don't know if any of it was ever collected in trade. I really doubt that it was, but I'm going to see if I can find some old issues, and maybe at some point I'll review some more of it. Of course, it's not the sort of thing that there's a great deal to say about, not real deep storytelling. These are cartoons in a comic book page, but great fun, escapist, hilarious stuff, and if you like things that are a little bit punny, and if you love the characters of the Powerpuff Girls, read this and read this series, because I think this was absolutely all kinds of fun. Anyway, thanks as always for watching the Comic Book Vault. Stuff coming up on the Vault. This week, we're going to see a series from Vince on The Phantom. He's doing a series on Phantom Comics, and that's going to be starting on Monday. And we'll get a Phantom review every day for, I want to say he's doing 5 episodes of Phantom. So look forward to that. Also, coming up soon, I'm going to be doing a series on the Simonson Thor from the 80s. And I keep talking about this, I keep saying this is going to happen. One of our viewers sent us the big tome of Simonson Thor. The reason I haven't gotten to it yet is that I discovered that Dan Torrey also owns all of that Simonson Thor, and he wants to review it with me. So we're going to try to start getting that out, probably not this week, but the week after. I think we may start trying to record this week, Simonson Thor. So anyway, I'll look forward to that. Lots more fun Vault stuff ahead. We got a lot of great single issues that Vince or I are going to review that came for the Mailbag Day this week. And like I said, you'll get to see those later on this week when we do Mailbag Day. Lots of fun stuff coming up on Geekvolution. Be sure and stay tuned. And thanks as always for watching. If you ever want to send anything to the vault for me to review, like Justin did, feel free to send things to the Comic Book Vault, to our P.O. Box. That's Geekvolution, P.O. Box 14183, Lenexa, Kansas 66285. Thanks as always for watching. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading.